All right, so good morning, everyone. So let's have our daily briefing for today. So yesterday, as usual for Monday, there's nothing much, but let's focus on today's data. So during the European session, so first things we have the claimant count change or the employment rate for UK for the month of September. So the previous data is negative 58.6K and the release time later is 2 p.m. Followed by the unemployment rate data for the month of August. So the previous data is 4.6% and forecasted at 4.5%. So if this data beat the market forecast or the unemployment rate is lower for the month of August, then we might see a move for the pound dollar in particular. So the release time as well is 2 p.m. later. And followed by the economic sentiment for Eurozone. So the previous data is 31.1 and the market forecast at 37. And the release time later, 5 p.m. So same thing with this one. So it's forecasted higher. So if the actual data beats the forecasted, so it might say move for the euro dollar to be specific. And the previous data for the economic sentiment for Germany is 26.5 and the market forecast at 24. So for the US session, we have to focus on the job openings for the month of August. So the previous data is 10.934 million, but the market forecast is lower, around the 10.925 million, and the release time later, 10 p.m. But with this one, if you've been monitoring or you've paying attention with this data for the past couple of months, the previous data is at this one and forecasted at lower, but it doesn't mean that if the actual data or the forecasted data is lower, it means that the actual will be less. But a couple of months ago, I've noticed that every time that the job openings is forecasted lower compared to the previous, the actual data is higher. So let's see what will happen later for this data. But however, as we all know, every time that there's a US data or maybe high impact news for the US data, there's a lot of elements of surprise with this one. So we have to be cautious. And for our key product for today, we have the British pound and then the euro dollar. Okay. So even though, so first things we have the British pound against the USD. So even though we don't have any significant move or significant news on the economic data last night, but you can see that the British pound moves toward the 1.35 territory once again due to the treasury yields. So since we have data for the UK and US later, so I can see clearly that the market will be move faster for today. But this one is on the 15 minutes time frame. Okay. So later, if the data for the UK beats the market forecast, so I might see or you might see a possible pullback around the 1.3627 or maybe around the 1.3638. Okay. And right after that, since we have data for the US for the job openings, so if the forecasted is, or if the actual data is higher comparing on the forecasted, and then we might see a possible move on the downside for the pound. So that is why, in my personal opinion for today, I'm seeing a potential setup somewhere around the 1.3627 and also the 1.3638. So it means that if the price moves above this range, so there's a possible setup for short positions. And same goes with this one. But the alternative scenario is if the market price for the British pound moves towards the 1.3654 and 1.3674, then you can clearly see that the momentum will be on the other side. So it's on the bullish momentum. So last thing is we have the euro dollar. Okay. Same goes with the British pound. So this one moves lower yesterday due to the yields. And same setup for the euro dollar around the 1.1566 and also the 1.1571. Okay. So again, let's wait for the pullback for the price of the euro dollar before we enter the short positions right here. So possible scenario is if the price moves around the 1566 territory, then we can target this one, 1.1562 range. And above the 61 territory around the 1571, we have targets of 1566. But same direction for the British pound. for today. If the price moves towards the 1.1578 and above this once, and then we can see clearly that the market will be on the bullish momentum. But again, we have to be cautious on the job openings later. So let's see what will happen for that data. So again, for the European session, we have the claimant count change, the unemployment rate, economic sentiment for Eurozone, and economic sentiment as well for Germany. And for the US session, we have the job openings for US for the month of August. All right, so that is all for our daily briefing today. Thank you everyone for joining. Stay safe and have a great day.